Meeting of DNewTech Meetup. Hopefully everyone enjoyed their time off in July. Time to get back to launching the new future of Detroit here. Just to go over the format, just real briefly, you don't need to worry about validating parking. That is so nice. I think everyone knows where the men's and ladies' rooms are. Go out the door, hang the left, and they're down there. Our format doesn't change. We'll have, I think, 4 speakers tonight, 4 entrepreneurs that will speak. They'll each speak for 5 minutes. We'll time them. Time is a really loud alarm that will go off. They'll have 5 minutes for Q&A. Before that, we'll have our keynote speaker. We'll introduce her just a little bit. I think we'll probably devour through all the food, so there might not be much left. There'll probably be some soft drinks left. The entrepreneurs will hang around for a little bit afterwards, so continue your Q&A. The whole thing is just to network and have fun. I want to thank our sponsors. They're flashing up on the screen as I talk. Detroit Economic Growth Corporation, the Collaborative Group, BizDeMu, Quicken Loans, Social Media is a Party, Blue Water Angels, they came on a couple months ago, Agency Medical Solutions, got to give a plug here, electronic medical records for psychiatrists, Mental Note, remember that, when they become really big, you can say, yeah, I was there, and we're just little bitty things. And of course, TechTown, our hometown sponsor and our sponsor here for tonight. So let's give it up for all of our sponsors. In addition to going through a number of the startup organizations, I haven't gone through BizDeMu, but definitely I'm part of TechTown and have alliances with some of the others. I'm a semi-finalist in the Clean Tech Open, which is a national competition. Only one again. They're rapidly learning what Leslie has to put up with how obnoxious I can be, but we Michigan people don't like to be in the background. But I just came back from 3 days of some awesome training a couple of weeks ago. And one of the things that they talked about was the difference between big established companies and entrepreneurs. And one of the things they said, a big established company has its business plan, its business model. And that's just about execution. That's all you need to do, is just execute the plan and you will make $1 billion in profit. With entrepreneurs, our task is a little bit different. We figure out what the business is, and we write our business plan with the help of Leslie and all her support staff. And then as soon as we write it, you know what happens. So you never do get to execute the plan. So it's all about how flexible can you be, how do you deal with reality, so both developing a plan and living with the way the world actually works. That's my introduction to Leslie. Leslie came down here as operations manager, and her task is twofold: to take this great organization called TechTown, continue what it's doing, but also say, okay, life has changed a little bit. How can we become more flexible and more creative? So a little bit about her background. She was Director of Business Acceleration at MEDC. See how all these sponsorship things work? I was her direct responsibility for a $300 million investment portfolio, state and local grants, et cetera, to all the analysis and making sure the money was spent properly and getting it into the state. Smart zones, regional, state, national activities. Before that, she was CFO for a privately held real estate firm in Ann Arbor. She has lots of experience in leading multinational teams, multifaceted teams, and putting up with both Tom and myself. So she definitely needs a raise just putting up with us. So with that, Leslie, come on up and tell them what we're doing.
I don't think any of that experience prepared me to deal with Milton or Tom. But I'm grateful for the experience. I'm feeling bad about all of you folks standing there, so the housekeeper in me wants at least 5 of you to come sit down, and then maybe the rest of you to grab the chairs out of the lobby and just be comfortable, because they're here for you to sit in, if that's of interest to you. If you'd rather stand, that's fine. I have pages and pages of talking notes, but just kind of some gut reactions to what I see here is part of our mission, which is to reignite the entrepreneurial spirit in the city of Detroit, which clearly is being accomplished, or else this room would be standing room only with no food left over. So I can promise that the next time we host you here, which I now understand is the first Wednesday of every month, we will have more pizza and maybe a bigger room, because there are obviously lots of you here to celebrate this thing known as entrepreneurship. One thing that working for state government and large private companies doesn't prepare you for is the creativity and energy of folks like you. So I'm grateful that I get to be a part of this. And in actuality, share your experience every day, which is TechTown is also a startup. When I got here, we were struggling with a whole bunch of things that you struggle with every day. How are we going to find ongoing funding? How are we going to stabilize our debt on our building? How are we going to get the right people in place? How are we going to serve our customer better? Who, by the way, was abysmally disappointed with us at the time I showed up. And start to answer those questions. And so I've spent the last year going through what a lot of you are going through, which is kind of changing direction, shifting posture, figuring out if we were or were not going to run out of money and how we could remain relevant in the market and provide a service that was of value to folks just like you. And to do that, we've made a variety of changes that I'd like to talk to you about. But first, I'd like for each of you, kind of by a show of hands, to tell me how many of you are current or past TechTown clients? How many of you knew about TechTown before you came here today? Yay! How many of you think that TechTown only focuses on high-tech entrepreneurs? Okay, that's good, because I don't want you to think that, because we don't. And that's a key differentiator about us. The beginning of kind of my understanding of DNewTech obviously comes from Tom, who is someone that I respect and appreciate a great deal. And it is kind of a testament to his vision, the diversity that I see in the room. And it mirrors really the diversity we see here at TechTown every day, which is why this is a very natural fit for you to be here. And we're very blessed that you're here celebrating this with us. Across the hall is a bunch of potential new kind of members to this group, because we have a graduating class of fast track folks across the hall. I told Tom you have to go and recruit into your, beehive here of activity, because they're right for you. I was asked to talk about a little bit some of the things that are challenges to you and how we try to meet those challenges. You could probably articulate that better than I could, but I spent the first 90 days of being here asking each of you, or many people that look and act a lot like you, what we could do to serve you better, and hopefully we're starting to answer that. I think one really important aspect of the things that we can do to support you better is events just like this. It's in this assimilation with one another and the sharing of kind of the pain and process that is entrepreneurship, that you decide to try and do it one more day. It's sharing your alternative recipes for macaroni and cheese that makes you think you can actually eat it for another week before you can afford to buy meat to add to it, or understand what it's like to, work through the day without an IT person or a receptionist or a copy person or someone who write the business plan that Milton talked about, or make copies of that business plan, and then go out and deliver it. And so many of us have come from larger organizations. I spent a great deal of time in banking and then in multinational real estate. I keep tending towards smaller teams. I think that's maybe because I just don't like dealing with lots of people on a team. I don't know, but there are also challenges that come with that, which means you have to do all of the work. And so, it's a huge undertaking. And part of what we try to do here at TechTown is help you understand that reality, become comfortable with that reality, and decide if that actually makes sense for you. Some people show up here just looking for hope. They just want to understand, I don't have the job that I had anymore, and I need to figure out what to do with my life. They don't all necessarily come with the next greatest, invention about energy conservation as it attaches to your historical, profession. Some of them just say, what do I do now? Everything I knew and understood is gone, and I've been told you can help me. And so we have to help kind of try to, the end of that conversation, the answer is, you know what, this really isn't for you. But we're going to hook you up to whatever resources we can to find that new reality. Or maybe you don't want to be, you know, a Todd or Milton and start the deal and run the deal. Maybe you'd be perfectly placed working in that deal. And so a part of what TechTown has really started to focus on are the things that you need. And some of the things that you need that we weren't paying any attention to, we've really shined a light on. And so one of those things is talent. Are you laughing at me?
No. I'm thrilled.
Oh.
Because I would say that I had that experience with people who didn't get it, and so I'm thrilled that you get it.
Oh, thank you. I don't know that I get all of it, but what I do know how to do is listen and hopefully react to what I'm told. So I'm not dumb enough to think I know everything, but smart enough to know that I should surround myself with folks like you that are far smarter than me and just figure out ways to solve your problems. Because this is where the future lies, right? This is where all the jobs are, this is where the new reality is, this is where innovation lies, this is how we stop relying on a singular industry and fall apart when it falls apart. This is how we change the world. And I have 3 kids that I care very deeply that we do that for. So if I can help you do that, I want to help you do that. Part of what I heard you say when I got here was entrepreneurship is not a singular experience, it's not linear, it's dynamic. And the way TechTown deals with people is very linear. And I need you to instead meet me where I am and give me what I need when I need it, instead of telling me that, well, you will need this someday, and so hopefully you'll remember it. Or you don't need this now, but you know, you needed it 3 weeks ago, and that seems a little bit too late, right? So we've developed an intake process that you can go through where we actually figure out where you are and ask you what you need. And in doing so, hope to align you with coaching and resources that actually kind of move you through your journey at your pace. That doesn't mean we don't push back on you. It doesn't mean we don't tell you when we think you're wrong, or when we tell you we don't think there's anyone you can sell this to, or your business plan is crazy, or your projections are out of line, because we'll do all that too, and have fierce conversations with you, but we'll meet you where you are and walk with you in that journey. A couple of other things that we've really tried to focus on, and I was talking to Verdi in the back about this a little bit, is a focus on entrepreneurial capital, and not only connecting you to it, but explaining it to you, giving you a reality check about it, and also working to develop new sources of capital and market. And so realizing that in the capital life cycle, I'm a drawer, so I'm feeling really compelled to find a marker. In the capital life cycle that we all understand that has a valley of death, and I was reminded by a West Coast entrepreneur and venture capitalist recently that if there were only one valley of death, we'd all get through this much more quickly. I think there's actually 3 or 4. But as we look at kind of the capital life cycle and the points at which companies need infusions of capital, we really started to understand what the Detroit and Michigan market looks like, where the gaps are filled and where the gaps are not filled, and are creating programming to answer those gaps. We also partner with people all across the state, including one of your sponsors, the Blue Water Angels. We work with Great Lakes Angels, Ann Arbor Angels, and any other angels we can get to actively participate in this space, which if you know anything about the Michigan Angel Network isn't any and isn't enough. And so one of the programs we're currently designing is a program intended to engage additional angel networks based on some national models that we've been looking at. So helping you understand what you need, when you need it, and how you need it, and then how to get it is really important. We partner with the First Step Fund, which is run by Invest Detroit, which was funded by the New Economy Initiative, with the intent to make $25,000 to $50,000 in infusion cash to push you on your first step. I think we've done that with some of you in this room, and I recognize you for it because I'm on their investment committee. I do know that these deals can be game changers for you, and so creating more funds that meet you where you are. We work with the Detroit Micro Enterprise Loan Fund. We work with Enterprise Detroit. We have a fund here at TechTown called the Thrive One Fund that is intended to support Detroit-based businesses that are women or minority owned. So it has a very unique target, but it was funded by people that are interested in that. We work with the Women's Foundation to make sure that women enterprises are funded. And try to do a whole variety of things to connect you to capital. So if you don't know that now. And if you need help with that, come to TechTown on the 2nd floor and find a guy named Jack Miner, who is, I was describing him ask him. Not so much if you ask me, but he does have gray hair and blue eyes, and he's short. So anyways, he is masterful at helping you figure out what your funding reality is and creating a strategy and attaching you to that. Most recently spending some time around crowdfunding and really trying to exploit that in the earliest stages of company development as a source of funding, and has actually achieved a couple of company launches through that source. So we added him when you told me that we didn't do that for you, and we will continue to add things that we're not doing for you as you bring them to my attention. Another thing that we've done in that regard is create a talent component here at TechTown, which allows you access to certain pieces of talent that are either free or paid for depending on where you are and what you need. Wayne State University is inauspiciously our host, and although not terribly always actively engaged, has this great body of students that are ready to do anything that we ask them to. And we have several programs that will actually pay 50% of their salaries while they work for you. So it's cheap, easy, good labor, and if you need it, I have a guy named Bear Salami who will help you do that. Many of you know him because he used to manage companies, and he currently works with our mentors. So we know that you need access to talent that you can't always afford, and we know that it's difficult when you're the only guy or girl doing all of the work, and we'll help you do that if you ask us to. The other thing is just creating opportunities like this. We have on the second floor space that is very open, collaborative space that any of you are invited to come and sit in, work in, use our conference rooms, our wireless networks, and just kind of generally be with other people like you and have access to our team if that's of use to you. It is one of our alpha product deliveries that we're testing on folks like you to see how it works and how it is effective for you or ineffective for you. It's based on some models that we looked at nationally, and we see tons of activity in our space with people that otherwise wouldn't be there. So I hope that at some point in the future, those folks are you. With those two things as additions, we've also tried to adjust our entrepreneurial curriculum to the trends that we've seen emerge. Interesting trends emerging in entrepreneurship are around the types of people doing it, and the types of people doing it are not all 22 years old, though some of you are. Many are over the age of 55, and the kind of risk profile and confidence structure and business acumen for those that particular group of people is different. And so we've created programming specific to them. It's called Boom the New Generation, and we're starting to talk to them in ways that are meaningful to them. We've partnered with Inforum, which is a women's professional network of people, to bring to bear a firm, Astion Activate, programs called Astion Activate, which are intended to help women entrepreneurs pull technologies off of the walls of local universities and create companies and associate funding with them. Why do we do that? Because more than 50% of the entrepreneurs at TechTown are women. So it's an interesting trend that we want to answer. The other thing that is interesting to me that you commented on when I asked you to raise your hand is the fact that TechTown as an accelerator incubator in southeastern Michigan does not solely focus on technology-based companies. So our name sort of betrays us in that regard, because the intent in 2004, when the building was donated by General Motors, that we were going to have all of these fabulous technologies spinning wildly out of Wayne State University, and we were going to create thousands of companies. It was going to be fabulous, and we would all declare victory and, go south for the winters. That didn't happen, but other fabulous things have happened because that didn't happen, and so we're grateful for that. I don't know, any of you know a whole bunch about technology commercialization, but Wayne State's not really leading the way in that conversation, although they understand that and are working on putting a new strategy in place, so there's hope for the future, and I feel great about that. We reacted to the needs of the city. And the needs of the city are desperate in many regards, and said we can't discriminate based on anything, and we're accused for a long time of trying to be all things to all people, which we've tried to adjust to, but haven't completely eliminated the people we're willing to talk to. So we have products and services and low-tech initiatives that don't have a whole lot to do with a high-tech application of anything, but solve a problem and create place, and that's our mission here. So we need to rebuild the city from the inside out and the outside in, and that means that every job is important, even if it's one at a time, and we don't discount that. There are other places in the state of Michigan that don't have to care about that, and good for them. But I come to Detroit every day from 52 miles away because I don't want to just turn on the lights. I actually want to answer a challenge, and I get to do that here. And so no matter what you're doing, we might be able to help you. And if we can, I would encourage you to come and ask. And if we can't, tell us why not and how we might. And if we still can't, we'll find someone.
Leslie would love to answer all the questions you've been holding back on.
Yes, sir.
Me?
Yeah.
I've talked to a few of the entrepreneurship teachers at Oakland University, and I know they're rolling out a similar program to something you mentioned. Are you guys involved with that at all? Like, do you guys have any plans to do something similar? Like, I think you mentioned a program where you guys pay half of the salary for students at Wayne that are coming to new companies or something. Is that like involved with you guys?
Is the Wayne State program involved with us?
Yeah, are you guys expanding it to other schools as of right now? Are you guys working exclusively with Wayne State?
Thank you. Now I understand the question. We started actually with the Odette School of Business in Windsor because they were more eager and interested in partnering with us and set a great example to pull Wayne State off the sidelines. And so we're not opposed to expanding our conversations to Oakland. We have a great regional partnership with Oakland University, Macomb Community College, the University of Michigan, and their associated incubators, including Ann Arbor Spark and Automation. Excuse me. So what we try a lot to do is not duplicate efforts and share our resources where appropriate. One of the knocks against Detroit, if we could list them all, it would take all night, but one of the knocks against Detroit is that we don't talk to each other, and so therefore we do a lot of things over and over and over again, and we're really trying to change that on a regional perspective to just be best in class at something or some things and let other people do the things they're best in class at. So although I would love to have Oakland University students here, I would also expect that they're being placed in roles around Oakland University. Yes, sir.
To that end, what would you say you're best in class at here at
Best in class at? I think we're best in class at meeting people where they are, inclusion, concern for diversity, focus on a creation of place in and around the Midtown that hopefully spills out into Detroit. And I would hope that we're best in class in providing a leadership perspective that indicates we don't have to do it all, but we want to partner to get to the other side.
Leslie talked just briefly about the business model is different. And if you look, again, I work with everyone across the state, is you look at the Automation Alley and the Ann Arbor Spark, they really do have more of a high-tech or medical, biomedical focus. And one of the things that Leslie talked about is, if you hear a TechTown, you can't ignore the people next door. So, bless them in Ann Arbor, I've gotten a lot of help from them, they're looking at 100, 200, 500 person opportunities. Here at TechTown, if someone has an idea for 5 or 10 people that the other incubators can't touch, it's not part of the DNA, that's crucially important here. And one of the changes that Leslie talked about was they used to have a one-size-fits-all. Well, now they've got structured programs. If you want to do this, you go through this door. If you want to do this, there's a different door, you go down the hallway and go in that window. So it is that flexibility and recognizing you can't ignore Detroit. Detroit is going to be here You can't say you're from Fraser or Adrian. You're from Michigan. Oh yeah, Detroit. So I think that's a key thing. It's not a running away. It's an embracing and finding a way to make it work effectively. I think that's probably their biggest distinctive competence. And Business U is a part of that because they're also focused on a slightly different model, but lots of overlap. But again, it's committed to Detroit, Wayne County type of entrepreneurship.
Let me add what Milton also said, because I can also tell you that in regards to where you are in the company, what level you are, what stage you are, I think one thing that you're going to find out is that TechTown does help meet you there. Wherever you are in regards to your stage of your company, TechTown is programs that are somewhat customized to your needs.
Yeah, so we like to, just to add on that, and then I'll answer your question, which you tried to raise your hand. I'm sorry. Two comments I want to make to that. One, TechTown is more of a community than it is a building, and so people talk about TechTown as this building, and it drives me nuts, because TechTown is a community of like-minded people, and that is also a differentiator. We have people like the SBTC, BizDemU, the PTAC, Business Connect, we have the Mexican government sits in the hallway down back here. We have the Canadians here. So we have this diversity of folks that are interested in entrepreneurship, and at any time you can run into them and have a conversation with them. We also have in this building, as a part of our community, mature companies. And so you can talk to a CEO that's IPO'd. You can talk to a CEO that's selling $300 million annually, which is different than being with all people, in the same place. And so that diversity of pre-ideation to, post-revenue in a singular community also kind of creates a dynamic environment for you to focus or function in.
Two things real quick. Number one is these incubators definitely have personalities. And the reason I'm here is because I'm looking for my second incubator with a better personality to me. So Milton, I think you're 100% right. They have personalities. You have to find the one that fits you. I'm wondering about, I'm going to call it the playpen. You call it like the Alpha Project, with the drop-in open community thing. What do you call that? How do you get involved in that?
Right now we call it the TechTown administration space.
Wow, that's really creative.
I know. I'm not a marketing person. I don't know if I mentioned that in the
You have all these
beginning.
fancy names for all these programs. So.
It's an open innovation space. It has all this fabulous steel case furniture in it and bright colors and open spots.
Okay.
What I do know is that you can pop in. The wireless actually works, which didn't when I got here, which is another thing I've changed. The joke used to be, oh, this is TechTown. And I heard that about 475 times.
So it's just a drop-in thing, or
Yeah,
do you register?
just
Do you
no,
rent?
you don't register.
Do you rent?
Not yet.
Okay. So it's just show up and
Just show up
do your thing
and
contribute to the
start to
original?
feel like there's exactly a value in the exchange.
Yeah. Okay, good.
Yes, sir.
I'm going to chime maybe my own chime, but a key aspect of TechTown is a group of people called mentors here that have been here since the onset, that are truly an unreal resource. These are multiple entrepreneurs, they're top executives from companies who have a desire to give back to the community. I also am one of those mentors, but I'm also involved in Spark, Oakland County, and GLEQ. But TechTown is the only one that has organized a really top set of talent in their mentor base. And you ought to consider that. You want somebody to interact with you on your business plan on a one-on-one basis or a one-on-many basis. This place seems to be the only one that's focused on it.
So, as businesses respond to needs and opportunities, TechTown had no market big need. And so we went out and begged really smart, experienced people to help us, and it proved to be one of the smartest things we did. And so we can't hire all of the coaches, and we certainly can't pay for all of the coaches like our friends in Ann Arbor can, because they have more money than you and me and all of us put together. So we had to find a way to meet the needs of our entrepreneurs with really smart people and not pay them. And we somehow were able to find a bunch of really smart, interested people who do that and have done it for multiple years. We haven't always used them effectively, but we're really trying to exploit the strength of that core. We've organized them into some advisory groups, which is where you get the one-to-many, so that you get, mentors that have a variety of capacities. So thank you for bringing out that point. It is a part of our GEM base.
We have time for two more questions. That's it. There.
Yeah, I think there was, in the past, there may have been some issues with like your Thrive program, where you had so many people that were interested in it, and it was kind of difficult to, have capacity for that sort of interest. Have we done things to address that?
Yeah, we have. So, and we've done a couple of things. A, we've added a couple more coaches, which doesn't completely solve it. B, we've tried to re-engage more actively with our partners to make sure that we can meet those needs more timely and efficiently. SBTDC being one of those critical partners that can help us deliver that. There are also, at Lawrence Tech and other places where we can get you plugged in more quickly. We had to go through a whole series of staff changes at TechTown candidly to get people who were entrepreneurial and flexible enough to figure out how to meet those demands in a timely way, and we've done that. So hopefully you'll see a different response if you come in. And the one more, who gets the one more? Yes, sir.
Hi, do you have any connection to TechShop?
TechShop, yes. Thank you for asking. So we do know TechShop well. Bill Coughlin, who was the IP lawyer at Ford Motor Company, that's really been kind of pushing this idea and concept to bring this here, is closely aligned with Auto Harvest, who, if you're aware of TechShop, you're probably aware of Auto Harvest is one of our startup companies that's really trying to create a new platform for the exchange of intellectual property among the automotive kind of top three, and then all of their suppliers. And TechShop is one of the outpourings of that initiative that is really a passion point for Bill Coughlin. What it is it's a maker space that's being built in Dearborn, right next to where the Lions practice. So if you know where that is, it's in the very next building. And it's going to be this fabulous kind of membership-based experience where you can go in and learn to use all of this equipment that you could not otherwise afford, and make prototypes or a variety of other things that will really spur the ability to create tangible outcomes with your ideas. And it is intended to open October 1st and is based on a model that was originally launched in California. So that is going to be an incredible asset for us. And we're working on an MOU with TechShop that says, TechTown clients get access to that at some discounted rate or priority preference.
Great.
Thank you so much.
Melissa,
for
thank you
having
very much.
I just want to thank all of you for what you're doing, because I'm just trying to help you get there. You're changing the world. So thank you for letting me be here. My days get bogged down in a lot of operational bullshit, and being with people like you reminds me why I'm here. So thank you. Have a good night.
With the advantage of a smaller room, you don't need to worry about microphones and people, so that's going to work out well. So Will, you will come on up. Some kind of factoids about Will. I always ask for two things by everyone. They said, I have jumbled a couple of things. He actually juggles while riding his motorcycle. Actually, what he says he juggles and he rides a motorcycle, but it sounds sexy as if he does it all at once. The other one about his company is the world's first social point of sale. Hopefully that means something to you. It doesn't to me, but we'll probably learn about it when he gives his talk. So I think we're ready. Zachary here, 5 minutes.
Doing it on Zachary? Okay, cool. Sure. Hey guys, I'm Will. On the presentation sheet, I think it lists Verdi, who's our president. We like to give free upgrades, so today. Verdi's and I'm with Burroughs. Basically, I want to just mention 2 points. A lot of us obviously interact with consumer devices and see iPads, and we've gotten to experience kind of a really awesome explosion and collaboration of different technologies. And those things have combined in really cool ways to give us instantaneous access to the web. In the commercial and retail space, there's kind of a lag. But on the web, there are lots of really rich analytic tools. So if you run a company online, you can run Google Analytics and grow your business and increase margins. Brick and mortar stores, that's kind of a different story. We'll explain in a second. The other one is, the tablet's gotten a lot of press for consumers, but actually it's making kind of an even deeper impact for commercial and retail spaces. And the tablet's going to really change retail and change not only the experience of the shopper, but more importantly, empower the business owners and help them grow their business. So, basically, you have these companies that are able to pay for data warehouses and analytics guys and IT staff to drive decisions that will increase revenue based on lots of data. Here's some examples of some of the larger guys. And this really makes it unfair for the smaller shops, the medium-sized chains. It's very difficult to have manpower or money to do these things. And this is actually Verdi's presentation. So this is his story. I'm going to tell you really quickly here. Basically, 4 years ago, started a burrito shop in Ann Arbor after graduating from U of M, and just really loved burritos. The equipment to get set up with a point of sale system is pretty expensive, even if you go with just a basic cash register. But the problem is you really have no data on what your margins are or how you can grow your business effectively. And he would have a lot of questions. What are his largest margin items? What ways can he improve sales? He didn't know any of these things. And he got a point of sale system, tried it out, it sucked. He tried out another one, it sucked. He actually went through 7 different point of sale systems and couldn't find a single one that was decent at all, or give him analytics easily. Because like run a report, then it would break, then you call IT support, then you download it, then you open it, and basically it doesn't really help when you have a million other things to worry about. So basically he sold the company and founded OWN to empower little guys in mom and pop stores, even medium-sized chains, with the same tools that the big guys historically have had with these more expensive point-of-sale systems that had lots of analytics and people that are just staffed to do those things. So basically, with OWN, we have married the web with tablets and new technology and brought the traditionally brick-and-mortar only and on-paper record-keeping system to the web. So this is actually what our tablet looks like. So now what we have here is a cost-effective solution that can give owners the same rich tools as the big guys at a fraction of the cost and at really no headache. So he sold the company, founded OWN about 2 years ago, and it's been pretty exciting. We've now recently passed through beta. We actually have paying customers now. So we're in 12 stores across 7 states. Actually, 2 days ago was our official 1.0 release. So we're really ready to explode here, and we've been getting tons of traffic on our website to the point where we will have over double our client base by September. So, point of sale, basically I only have a minute to get into this, but historically it's been really funky. The solutions out there are lacking, to say the least. And what we find when people come and visit our website and leave comments is they are just itching to have something new and better. We've got, this is actually a client we just set up last week. And basically people are really excited about this space, and it's really hot opportunity. So, we're going to see the market with 100 stores. We're targeting coffee shops this year. We're going to go into other retail spaces. Looks like the formatting got messed up here. Cool. But you can reach out to Verdi or myself at VNW at point of sale. So, thanks guys.
Yeah, I guess I want to see Milton here. I guess you guys, now we have our normal formats that you get 5 minutes to drill with questions. So go ahead.
Okay, so do you integrate with any online e-commerce solutions? Say there's a store that also does a lot of retail business online, and they have an inventory that is shared between the online store and the retail stores. That's the situation I'm dealing with right now.
Yeah, absolutely. No, that's a great question. That is something we have not built. We've been focusing on getting kind of the bare bones down, and then we're starting to add on more of those features. That'll be something we do next year, which you guys as well. Yeah.
Do you have an M-commerce component of this, or are you thinking about that?
What do you mean by that? Oh, yeah, absolutely. So, part of the power of the tablet is basically we've enabled it so that you can, as a store owner or as an independent salesperson, start taking orders wirelessly anywhere you want. And then in terms of the actual consumer side of things, the shoppers, we've started building our apps for mobile devices so that you can come into the coffee shop, your phone buzzes, it's like, welcome to a phone-enabled store. Would you like to place an order? Yes. Coffee, blah, blah, blah. Hey, cut the line and pick up your drink. So we've started that, but that hasn't been deployed yet. Go ahead and
Yeah, how do you stack up against Square's register?
Square's point of sale, yeah. So Square, we actually met with Square. They flew us out there a few weeks ago. Their target market is kind of a one-off guys, people that maybe travel, maybe a photographer that can take payments. Their goal is to really empower all those people. It's a really big market. Ours is a little bit smaller, and we're really focusing on giving great tools to the markets that we're targeting. So with coffee and then rich analytics, we're building a community for them online. We're tying into Facebook and Twitter and Yelp, etc. The Square system is just very basic. It's for kind of bottom line being able to take a credit card transaction. It's not really doing those other sort of social activities and the richer analytics.
Another question on this side of the
What kind of cost monthly with what?
Yeah, it's a great question. Basically, the initial charge for the hardware, we provide everything off the shelf. This is an Asus tablet, and we sourced all the components to basically make it a one-stop shop, and then just a recurring monthly per tablet, $150.
You said with your service, you'd be able to walk into a store and just with your phone never go up to a register and pay?
Yeah.
What do stores think of that as far as retail fraud? If that really caught on, wouldn't that kind of be scary that, how would they know if somebody bought something or somebody didn't?
So it ties directly into the point of sale system, so the people at the register and at the counter, it's going to take care of orders that have been closed, orders that have been paid for. So I'm not really
Not much thought into physical products,
in terms of the retail space, that's something that we haven't really been addressing, so that's something definitely to consider, which might be kind of a different setup than maybe a coffee shop.
Okay, and I don't know if I'm allowed to ask you.
Go ahead.
Have you guys thought about integrating into kiosks at malls? Because it seems like that would be great for them.
Absolutely. That's something, again, that will come later. The great part of building a web-based system is we can start adding all these things on because our platform inherently is flexible.
What are your funding needs and other needs right now to take it to the next level?
Yeah, so actually Verdi has been handling our funding. I think we just closed kind of a smaller round, but we'll have another round soon. We actually have been, right now is a really exciting time. We're actually all set to really push forward, but we're always looking for people that have not only just resources but great advice as well, be mentors and help us connect. We're trying to get more involved in Detroit. We're actually in 7 states, and we're trying to make our brand able to reach anyone, but we really like to connect more with communities. So we're always open for discussion. So you can reach out on one of the emails or our phone.
We're going to talk about one more question.
What about needs? What are you guys privileged to use of any type of program?
Yeah, sure. Great question. We've been growing pretty rapidly thus far. We're always looking for more Rails developers, Ruby on Rails developers. We're looking for a graphics design person right now. We actually need a few more salespeople and customer service people. So we're looking for a few different positions.
Where are you located?
We're in Ann Arbor in the Kidley building at Main and Catherine, actually.
Tom, this has nothing to do with the presentation. We always ask people, what are you looking for in terms of types of people? Could we start a portal on our site where we could list, well, we can talk about that later. Just now it occurred to me that we have people present, we can start to aggregate some of those. Okay, I think that was our 5 minutes. Great, thank you. Okay, next person up will be Brett. Okay. While he makes that long walk all the way up to the front of the room, I asked Brett a couple of different factoids. This was a little unusual. So if I hit my head really hard, it makes a hollow sound like clicking your tongue against the roof of your mouth.
It might be too big of a room to do it. See if I can work.
Oh yeah, we heard The second one is he pitched his company to Dan Gilbert. We think that these pitches don't make a difference. He pitched his company to Dan Gilbert, and Dan is his biggest investor. So, for all of you that are like, why do I want to do this? He's a perfect example. So if our slides are ready, go ahead. That's what we're doing.
Yeah, I'm not too concerned with getting through this because I'm a really quick talker. So first, I'm going to run a little love around the room. The lady who asked about investment needs for OWN is the recruiter at DNewTech, which is the program I came through. Her name is Maria. So if you have any questions about starting your company, how to get through, talk to Maria. She's amazing. Also, I know some people from TVP are in the room. Jay Cohen over there, and also one of the companies we invested in, Ergün. You know all those things you hate, like you have to say it's like a tie-dye weird Picasso thing that you gotta like verify whether or not you're human. They're gonna change the way people do that, make it fun, and also make some money off of it. So get rid of that. All right. Now back to me. So I'm from Wedit, which I said is a business media company. I'm just gonna kind of outline what the problem was and how we decided to solve it. So basically, people get married every year. A ton of people. I'll go over specifics, and they spend a lot of money. And it's going to crawl across the screen way too slow, but they spend it on rings and cakes and flowers and all this junk. That cake disappears. You put the top in the freezer for a year or whatever. You spend a bunch of money on flowers. 48 hours, they're wilted. They're done. Can't ever see them again. What people don't spend a lot of money on is wedding videography. And it's really expensive. So brides and grooms, they go through all this stress of planning the wedding. They have a great time, and then at the end of it, usually they only have photos come out of it. Because if you look at it, the average wedding in the US is about $20,000. A low-end videographer, I'm talking really low-end, will be about $1,500. So you're asking someone to spend about 7.5% of their budget on a wedding video, and it's hard to get them to do that when you're talking to a bride who's always pictured her dream wedding. And I thought that was kind of a tragedy because, I'm a big believer in film and the emotion it can evoke. Next slide. So, kind of to go over, there's 2.3 million brides in the U.S. every year who end up getting married. And from our own surveys, we talked to about 150 brides before we launched, and we found about 43% of them wanted a wedding video that was affordable and fun and fantastic, but they couldn't find an option for that, and they weren't willing to pay a professional. So we tried to come up with a solution, and part of that solution was realizing that videography and photography has changed a little bit. So the old way was hire a professional photographer, come to your wedding, and he'd shoot photos like this. Kind of staged and hokey, and I don't think anyone at that wedding is really shocked that the bride and groom were kissing. doesn't really point out like an exciting moment in the wedding or bring back a memory. It's really fake, and what's trending now is kind of new stuff. Where it's candid and fun and warm, you can look back on that moment and be like, oh, that's when I smashed the cake into your face. That was so funny. To kind of incorporate the affordableness with great videos that evoke memories and everything, we decided, well, there's flip cameras now, and people are more and more getting accustomed to filming their own stuff and shooting photos on their phone. So what we'll do is we'll rent these out, we'll send them in the mail, and they'll fly over there. They'll send them back to us. So basically the guests crowdsource the video. So they take the video, they get them a couple days before the wedding so they can film a rehearsal dinner, all this fun stuff, send them back to us. We edit the videos. We also post them online. We send them DVDs with every package. So it's kind of a picture of our site as it is now. We put them all up in there. It's a personal video sharing page. So they can share it socially on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, etc. The best part is we cut the cost in half. So we do that for anywhere from
$499 to $799, and so far it's going pretty well. So, questions? I got through all that. Yeah.
How long does it take you to edit videos, and how do you scale that up?
Right now it's variable, depending. You know, if you have your wedding in December, we'll get your video back to you in about a week as soon as we get all the information we need from you. Right now, July, kind of peak wedding season, we're averaging about a month, which is, you know, still really, really quick compared to traditional videographers. And one of the reasons that is because we actually have a network of editors that we're assembling, as opposed to in-house people for all they're doing. So we kind of offer the job out to the community, and whoever's available to do it takes it on, and then edits it, gets it back to us, and we pay them. Yeah.
Does it have to be just weddings?
We get that question all the time. So like, what about bar and bar mitzvahs? And what about corporate events? And what we found is weddings are kind of the sweet spot, because the people at weddings are adults, they know how to handle the equipment, but it's also fun, and everybody who is handling cameras is part of that group. At bar and bar mitzvahs, if you give them to the kids, you get weird kid footage, and there's no guarantee they're going to actually take pride in it or do a good job. You give it to the adults, and you get a bar mitzvah video about what these drunk adults are doing at the party. That has no meaning to the kids, and it's not fun to look back on. Same thing with corporate events. At corporate events, it's really, really hard to figure out what was important at the corporate event if you don't know the company's culture. So we've kind of shied away from that, but it's not something we're opposed to necessarily. So many hands. Yeah, Jake.
Have you given any thoughts to the mobile, like a mobile app instead of sending the visual cam?
Yeah, so that's kind of the next step for us, especially when we heard that Flip was kind of shutting down their operations. We started to plan for the future a little bit. So we're definitely, we've had talks with Detroit Labs already about developing a mobile app where basically you sign up, you get the app, and then all your friends download the app, uses it at the wedding, automatically aggregates all the footage, uploads it to our servers, et cetera, and we kind of take the process from there.
Do you cut to music, and who supplies the track?
Yeah. Okay, I got the second part. So what we do is we send out, after every wedding is uploaded, we send an email saying, hey, your videos are ready, and also, while you're looking at your videos, click on this form on our website. So it's basically a simple form. It tells your wedding date, your name. They list all the songs they want, the style of the video they want, if they want it cutesy, romantic, or kind of more fun and upbeat. And also any specific moments they know they want to be included. If they did one of those organized thriller dances at the beginning of the wedding or something that they know they want in their wedding video. So we give them an opportunity to kind of custom tailor it. And then we take all that stuff and we actually supply all the music. And we don't have any licensing issues because it's personal use, and I contacted BMI and all of them. Maybe if we get much larger, they'll come after us, but at the time they were like, we don't even know who you are, so do whatever you want. Which is fine with me, because I didn't really want to pay music licensing fees. Yeah.
How do you handle the alcohol-induced flip casualties?
So far, believe it or not, there have been 0 alcohol-induced flip casualties. So what we do is we keep our fingers crossed, but also all the cameras are insured, so it's not really an issue if someone drops the camera and it splits open. At that point, we would just feel terrible that those people kind of lost all that stuff that was on the cameras. But so far, we have a 100% return rate. They get us back to it really quickly, mostly because they're excited to see what's on it.
Your market, is it just North America?
Yeah, so it's actually United States of America. Preferably continental, but we have shipped, we have a wedding coming up in Alaska, and we have shipped them to Hawaii. That just kind of increased our cost a little bit, not so much that we're opposed to it. But we've done weddings all over, from New York to Montana to Texas, Florida, Georgia, all over the place. We launched for business in October of last year, so we're approaching the 1-year mark.
About how many weddings have you done so far?
We booked 150 weddings this year, and we've actually serviced about 55 at this point. So believe it or not, there's a lot in September.
Do you just deliver the product to the bride and groom, or is it a collaborative effort with them, and how much is that collaboration afterwards?
It's a pretty flexible situation. So what happens is when we get the videos back, we upload it to their page where they view it, and then we give them an opportunity to say what they really like, what they don't like, and we'll take it back to the editors. And most of the time, we really nail it on the head because they give us a ton of their feedback. And they're not as picky as you would think. They're just happy to see their footage kind of compiled in a fun format. Most of the time it's like changing a song or taking out a slide. And in that case, our editors are of the understanding that some of that's included in the price that we're paying.
Someone mentioned mobile. Have you guys
It's something that's in the back of my mind, but it's not something that's kind of the next thing we're going to do anytime soon.
How did you get your name out? How did you get the business?
At first, it was when we launched in October. I was going to a wedding show or two every single weekend, kind of just hitting the ground, talking to brides, and it was miserable. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not really the type to stand at a wedding show and chat about flowers and stuff, but you know, we got our name out there. People had words. We've been really successful with some Groupon style deals through the Knot and stuff. And now we're kind of focused on taking our existing clients who are really, really happy. If you go on any of the review sites, we basically 5-star reviews, brides are saying 11 out of 10 for our service. So now we're focused on getting those reviews, using those to kind of bolster the referrals and the online sales. I think about it.
Oh, we have time for one more question. If there's one more, otherwise.
Where are you located again?
Here in TechTown, 3rd floor, Suite 390. We kind of just put feelers out there, and when someone says they're interested, we give them footage from a sample wedding we did a long time ago, so we kind of have a basis of comparison. We say, edit this to your best ability, here are the parameters, here are the songs that you can use. And if they get back a good product, we say, okay, you're good to go, you're in the queue now. And it's kind of how we move forward from there.
Okay, great. To solve this particular problem that he's going to talk about. So,
It's hard as part of coming up with that little intro. Okay, so real quick. Pornography addiction affects over 11 million adults in the U.S. The largest consumers in porn, ages 12 to 17, in case you didn't know. 80% of the children view X-rated content at home while doing homework. Average age of per exposure 11. Go to our website. I got all the reports that back all this up. 70% of porn starts with teasers. There's a law that says they have to validate age before you can see anything, but that's not the case. Christian community, 50% of pastors say porn's a major issue in their congregation, which is kind of where I was turned on to this by helping various churches and people try to solve this problem. And it's a big issue with divorces. Yeah, big time. So that's the problem. The solution is a service that would be easy to implement, affordable, provide seamless integration. I'm talking about blocking in adult content at the house, mobile, anywhere. Just getting rid of it. They must be able to filter all avenues to adult content, not just DNS, like OpenDNS does, but image searches, video searches, web search, direct IP proxies, DNS, etc. There's other ways around it. And it's got to be dynamic. You know, the internet's a living, breathing entity, and it changes. Google changes an algorithm, and it screws everything up. You got to be able to, act instantly to support your customer base. So I built this gatekeeper content filter engine. Took me about a year and a half. I didn't even think it could be done when I started it, but it's done. Basically, any IP-capable device, anything that can browse the web can be tied into this service, and it eliminates pornography. Simple. That's all it does. Doesn't get in the way of anything else, doesn't affect speed, performance, just gets rid of that pornography. You don't want it? That's what you want. You got kids, I've got kids, you want it out of there. Basically, this is how it works. Well, the router is what we're selling first. I have one here. It's right there. You got the internet, you got your ISP modem, could be DSL, Comcast, you guys got out here. Wow. Right. So the gatekeeper sits in front of that. Anything past that is protected. You can take this home, router right home, right here, plug it in, everything's protected. You don't have to do anything. And there's no way around it. There's nothing like it on the market today. If you do try to get full content, either directly or indirectly, it's simple. So who's our market? There are, 217 million internet users in the U.S., 2 billion worldwide. This is a global product. It's just a language pack. It's a little, change language on the interface of whatever device you're plugging into the service. I mean, because networking is networking, TCP is TCP/IP, it's global. So let's just say, just for the U.S. market, there's 83 million residential. Let's just say we appeal to 1% of that market. We eliminate money. It kind of ties back into the other slide, which is, you see the slide moving up. I mean, it's a big number. The numbers are big. The numbers are big. So let's just say, we only appeal to 8,000 people in the U.S. They buy our product, take it home, they're happy. We do have multiple, we have over 10 devices in production now. For over a year, it works great. Blah, 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 minus infrastructure cost, rounded up everywhere. The first year profit, just on router sale, we collect our router sales. First year profit, 600K. This is a residual type based business. You have to pay a subscription to pay for the infrastructure, the routers, and whatnot. But yeah, go to protectmyweb.com. There's an investor link on there if you want a business plan. We'll send that to you. If you want a demo router, we'll send you that. That's it.
Questions?
How does it work with mobile devices? You don't have a router. Like say if you're using a mobile device on a public,
Are you familiar with a proxy servers type scenario? Basically, we have an API, we got a few rules as a mobile, I cut a slide, I should have put it in here, but it's a cloud-based service. So initially, the first node is in Michigan, and this node will cover probably up to 1,000 subscribers in the U.S. It'll cover the U.S., but as the subscribers base grows, we got to spread the servers out a little bit. We're not quite ready for mobile yet, I don't think, because mobile's going to be just huge. There's nothing on the mobile market for kids, just nothing protected.
right? Because a lot of kids have iPods or even
Exactly.
stuff.
My kids, they got iPods,
go out and
iPads.
access.
Right.
Right.
Exactly. Either direct or indirect. You mistype a word, bam, it's in your face. Well, I don't want my kids seeing that, so just like the router, really. There's a few hoops they have to jump through to tie into the service. It's more at layer 3. It's a network layer. It's not really an application per se. The application on the mobile would be locking down all the peripheral type services, So like on the mobile would be, you can only use this browser. Actually, that's not even true. It depends on how it's implemented. If it's at layer 3 and the mobile, it doesn't matter what you use. The same with the router. Yeah, so it's at the TCP/IP level, so that's where it ties in. So like any request goes, we handle it.
Doesn't matter what network.
Doesn't matter.
You install the device's address onto your.
We use more of a.
Explain it to someone who doesn't know.
I know it's hard. It's kind of hard.
Well, let's do this. Let's keep the questions going. You guys can huddle at the back after.
Yeah, I can talk about it all day.
Have you sold any to cable?
We have AnnArbor.com, 2020 Communications, which is an ISP in Ann Arbor, came to us and asked us to make them a router with our service, which we coined family friendly. It's a family friendly service. And so at the Ann Arbor Festival, they provided free Wi-Fi. Well, when you join that free Wi-Fi, you'll see a splash page, which I made, and it says Amber.com 2020 and family friendly stroke type. So commercially, yeah, we have done.
Have you gotten any sell in that area?
We've had some interest from that, yes.
Interest but no sell.
Have I sold anything?
Yeah.
I haven't sold anything yet. We haven't really advertised. They came to us. Does that answer your question? I'm not sure. Yeah.
I might be a little bit off track with this, but has anybody requested that you like move forward into like blocking social networking? Like,
You know, that's the thing. It's